When Packers GM Ron Wolf needed an insurance policy for his offensive line down the stretch in 1996, he called on veteran Jeff Dellenbach. But the 12-year pro was no stranger to what Green Bay and the Packers were all about. His connections to the franchise ran pretty deep.
Late in the 96 season, you arrive in Green Bay. You're a Wisconsin native, you grew up in Wausau, you played for the Wisconsin Badgers. So what was it like to get a chance to play for the Packers?
It was a dream come true. Growing up in central Wisconsin, everybody Packer fans. My grandfather was a season ticket holder, and I had a couple of opportunities during deer hunting season. Some of his buddies wouldn't use their tickets, so I could sneak over then and get to a game every now and then. So growing up in the era of the Bart Starrs, Ray Nitschke, watching those guys as a young boy, and then going to the University of Wisconsin. Actually, Bart Starr had a role in that because I was being heavily recruited, and Bart called me and said there's a lot of value in staying close to home, which I remember being on that phone call like, this is Bart Starr on the phone. So that was a very interesting moment as a Wisconsin kid, and getting drafted, you go do what you got to do, but coming back and have an opportunity to play here and be around the fans and just special people. It was definitely a very special time.
So how did the opportunity even come about, or who contacted you from the Packers to bring you in here? Like, how did that all go down?
Well, I was in New England for training camp that year, and actually partially tore my Achilles tendon.
Okay.
So got out. When I got healthy, Bill Parcells had called me in and said, I'm letting you go, but call Ron Wolf in Green Bay. He's very interested in you. So I left the stadium there, made a couple phone calls, and basically was told, just sit tight, we're going to bring you in. Went back to my home down in Fort Lauderdale, got my kids back in school down there, kind of got everybody situated, and Reggie McKenzie actually was the one that called me, which played in the Hula Bowl with Reggie coming out of college, so we had kind of known each other a little bit.
Okay.
And when he called, he said, what do you think about coming to Green Bay? It was like, I'm ready, let's go. So it was great.
Now, when you were drafted by the Dolphins the year after they'd gone to the Super Bowl, but then they never went back to one. So what was it like to come into a team that was, on its way into the playoffs and making a Super Bowl run and all that? What was it like to walk into that situation? Well,
it was great timing to come into a special situation. And the thing I remembered from day one, just walking in the locker room and knowing it was a special thing going on. The chemistry of the team was unbelievable. How they just brought you in and you felt like one of the guys. It wasn't like, oh, you're coming in as we're making a run. It was just like, good, we need you, let's go. And and I was pretty much whatever I can do to help win some football games. I'm ready, and it was a great time.
You were brought in as a backup player. What sort of duties did you have in that Super Bowl run? Because you played some special teams, if I remember.
Yeah, I really came in long snapped for the field goals and extra points, and pretty much was the security policy, I guess, to learn all the positions because I had experience playing all 5 positions at the time.
Yeah.
So it was, be ready, and I got to fill in a little bit here and there during the run. So it was wonderful.
Yeah. Now in '97 and '98, you started about 8 games at center for the Packers. You'd snapped a lot of years with Dan Marino, then you're snapping to Brett Favre. That's 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that you got to work with there. What stands out to you as maybe the similarities, the differences between those guys?
Well, I think the number one similarity is that both great competitors. And then you kind of take your styles, and they're obviously a lot different. Where Dan was very much a pocket guy, and he was looking to pass first and probably not going to scramble or run too much, where Brett was a little more of a gunslinger, going to make things happen.
Yeah.
And again, just great competitors, both winners, and a lot of fun to be around both of them.
Dellenbach's versatility across the line, it sort of happened by accident. And that infamous Leon Lett play on a snowy 1993 Thanksgiving in Dallas, Dellenbach had a hand in that too.
When you played for the Badgers, you were a third-team All-American at tackle. How did you end up switching to center, or how did all of that come about?
Well, you said I came into the league as a tackle and played quite a bit early on at both right and left tackle. We had a guy by the name of Dwight Stevenson who was a pretty special center at the time. And going back to those days, you had a 45-man roster, no practice squad, no nothing. So you had 7, 8 offensive linemen if you were lucky. And during practice, you know, Dwight was never going down. He was a great center, so somebody had to give him a break every now and then so he could get a drink of water. And I was kind of that guy, you know, can you snap a ball? I've never done it, but figure it out. And about the 3rd week of doing that, all of a sudden Dwight got injured on a Monday night against the New York Jets. And as Dwight's laying on the field, I'm playing right tackle. There's 4 of us in the huddle. And at the time, John Sandusky, the kind of an older, crusty offensive line coach, came in, kind of looked around, and he looked at me and said, I guess you got to go, and walked back out of the huddle. And I'm kind of like, got to go where? What's go? And Roy Foster, the left guard at the time, said, you're playing center. I was like, great. So I'm snapping the ball to Dan Marino, Monday night, Joe Klecko across from me. And never done this before, so this is going to be interesting. So survived that game. The next week we went to Philadelphia, and they happened to move a guy by the name of Reggie White to the nose tackle that game. So had a lot of fun with Reggie, and I think Reggie kind of probably regretted it because I did a lot of cutting. I was going after Reggie's ankles every chance I could just to knock him down because we were learning as we were going at the time. So.
But you had to get pretty good pretty quick. I mean, you didn't have a whole lot of time to figure this out.
Yeah, I had no choice, just got it going. But, you know, fortunately, I kind of always took the approach learning the complete offense of what every position is responsible for. So, you know, I could kind of convert it in my head pretty quick and make it happen from, you know, right side, left side, wherever it was. And it paid off in the long run. And I credit that to, you know, getting me 16 years in the league.
Do people still ask you about the famous Leon Lett play on Thanksgiving down in Dallas?
Every Thanksgiving that comes up,
yeah.
And you know, people see it on the, you know, the greatest Thanksgiving Day plays and all that stuff.
Right.
And have a lot of fun with it, and being a teammate of Don Beebe's in a while because he also had a Leon Lett connection.
That's right.
Some fumbles, so the 3 of us have had some fun with it. People don't realize, don't understand, but I love it when I talk to Dallas fans, and they're, you know, if I hear somebody's a Dallas fan, say, oh, you remember the Leon Lett play on Thanksgiving Day? And yeah, I recovered the ball, and they're like, ah, so I get to have some fun.